Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of In Defense of Fitness. This time we're going to watch a clip from Joe Rogan and a guy named Firas Zahabi. I think he's a fighter. I don't really know, but I watched the clip really briefly, and it's got some stuff. So I'm going to watch it all the way through, and then we'll respond to it. I got that feedback last time, so thank you for that feedback. Watch the whole thing through, and then we're going to respond to the stuff going on in it, and kind of unpack it a little bit. Turn on the volume. Let's bring this in here. Book. CrossFit made fatigue the goal, says the biggest Firas. That's the biggest mistake in training. CrossFit didn't make fatigue the goal, but the goal of fitness training is to break down the human system, so stress. So when we're training, the goal with training is to achieve an adaptation, to get a goal on the other side of it. And the way we achieve an adaptation is by stressing the system. So in order for an adaptation to happen, you have to stress the system. Whatever system you're working on, you would want to stress so that you get the adaptation. That's just the fundamental anti-fragility that is built into the human organism. So I'm going to watch this. I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to watch it all the way through, and then we'll unpack it.
Bunch of CrossFit people out there right now that are screaming into their phones.
They're wrong. All due respect. They're wrong.
I like how you say all due respect.
With all due respect, they're wrong. Let me tell you why.
A few moments later.
Okay. I watched the whole video. It was a longer video than I was expecting. There's a lot in it. And again, I think this is fundamentally a misunderstanding from both sides. The guy makes great points, actually, but not understanding that the points he's making are actually very much in line with what we believe in CrossFit. And then there's some misunderstandings. So let's listen.
Bunch of CrossFit people out there right now that are screaming into their phones.
They're wrong. All due respect.
So I don't know what the question leading into it was. Maybe he was saying CrossFit made fatigue the goal, and that's the biggest mistake in training. Maybe that's what they're saying.
They're wrong.
I like how you say all due respect.
With all due respect, they're wrong. Let me
So with all due respect, they're wrong. With all due respect always means that you're going to say something kind of disrespectful. But it's okay. Let's see.
tell you why.
Okay.
And look, if you like CrossFit, do it. Whatever motivates you, do it.
Okay.
CrossFit's problem is it's fatigue seeking.
Okay. So here's interesting. We're missing context because he's going to go into talking about CrossFit is not a good training if your goal is to be the world's best MMA fighter. But his understanding of CrossFit training is incorrect fundamentally. But let me unpack it a bit more. So problem is fatigue seeking. Like I said before, yes, we seek fatigue, but not the kind of fatigue that he's necessarily talking about here. Fatigue is necessary in order to achieve adaptation. So if your goal is training adaptation, you want to seek fatigue. That's it. But his idea is that CrossFitters just go as hard as they can every day, which is not the case. We do high intensity, but it is not as hard as you can every day. There's no human being on the planet in a CrossFit gym who goes as hard as they can every day. If they do, they burn out within a year. And the intensity will vary from day to day based off of the program that is done. A back squat day is going to be very different than a Fran day, than a 5K day, than a 12-minute AMRAP day, than a work rest interval day, all these kinds of things.
Yes.
It says, look, go out there and burn yourself out.
It does not say go out there and burn yourself out. That is not at all what CrossFit says. It says high intensity, but high is always relative to the individual and relative to the task. We do not say go and burn yourself out. Burning yourself out would be a mistake. Now, if you were going to do something like go fight afterwards, you would obviously want to hold something back. And you would not get as good a training adaptation, but you've got other stuff to do. So let's hear what he says.
Yeah. That's totally wrong. They're not building any skill.
He doesn't define skill here, but I'm going to assume skill is associated with coordination, accuracy, agility, and balance. So being able to do things that require precision and accuracy. We build a ton of skill when it comes to the Olympic lifts, when it comes to gymnastics, when it comes to all of these other things. We love skill. Skill work is very important. In a CrossFit class, there's about an hour-long class, maybe a 5 to 15-minute workout. The rest of the class is skill building. You're building and acquiring physiological skills across a whole bunch of different modes. So that's not true.
Try to show me a guy who's a champion in CrossFit, champion in Jiu-Jitsu.
So champion is a weird term because champion on a global level or competent in both can go compete locally in both and crush because there's plenty of those. World champion? No, because a jiu-jitsu world champion would have to specialize so much to be a jiu-jitsu world champion. They might do some CrossFit-like training on the side that's higher intensity and a little bit mixed modalities, things like that, which I think a lot of them tend to do. I've seen a lot of their training. It looks very CrossFit-y. But by no means would you have Jason Khalipa's pretty good at jiu-jitsu. He's not a champion. You got, I know a number of CrossFitters who are really good at jiu-jitsu, but I don't know if they're champions, but that's because they're specialized. Like, champions are such a small percentage of people, and we're not there to make champions. CrossFit's not around for champions. CrossFit is there to make normal people live the highest quality lives.
That guy would need 2 lifetimes to reach mastery in
Yeah, dude, because we're not looking for mastery in both. He's right here. He's dead right here.
both of those. Why? Because my CrossFit workout is going to tax me.
No, not why. Because you're focusing on 2 separate things. That'd be like being, you're going to be the world's best chess player as well as the world's best marathon runner. It's like, dude, they might be pretty good at chess and pretty good at marathon running, but they probably need to play a lot more chess to be better at marathon running. And I guess that analogy is not great. Maybe it would be like the best marathon runner and the best sprinter. And you're like, these are similar domains, but you're never going to be both because they're different things, you ding dong.
So much. I cannot learn armbar, sweep, triangle, choke, double leg takedown, under.
You can learn that after CrossFit sessions, and there's plenty of people who train CrossFit during the day and then go do a jiu-jitsu and learn that stuff. But maybe not at the elite level that you're talking about. And I agree with you there. You do need to come to your training if you want to be a world champion with less fatigue under you so you can get more technical skill. But you know what also happens in a fight? In a fight, you eventually get to a place where you are so fatigued that sometimes your skill is surpassed by somebody else's fitness. So you could probably stand to gain some fitness too, or be able to work under fatigue, which is what champions do.
Hook. I've taxed my whole system. My system is in recovery. When your system is in recovery, what can you do but rest? You understand? Mm-hmm. Okay,
It's not as linear as that.
Mendez, do you think Rafa Mendez, arguably the greatest pound for pound, one of the greatest pound for pound jiu-jitsu guys in the world, do you think he's got a great CrossFit workout?
I bet you Rafa Mendez would do some bodyweight CrossFit workouts just smoking them. Wouldn't be world class, but he'd be good if he's truly a great jiu-jitsu guy.
That he's really mastered, he's really good at? Do you think he has a great back squat? Do you think
Well, he doesn't need a great back squat. He's probably a lighter lifter or a lighter weight wrestler, but if he had a great back squat, his ability to throw people off of him might be better. Who knows?
he's a great deadlifter?
Doesn't look like it.
No, he doesn't, believe me. You think Gordon Ryan, he's a great Olympic lifter? No.
I don't know. I've seen Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan looks pretty jacked. My guess is he'd probably be a pretty decent Olympic lifter. Wouldn't be the best, but my guess is he'd be pretty good.
Oh, they're always going to be at an amateur level in the fitness world. Why?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's the point. They will be an amateur level of fitness because they're not in the fitness world of competition. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to be better MMA fighters. But that doesn't mean they don't have fitness and they shouldn't train fitness.
Because if they were experts, they would have taken so much from their jiu-jitsu. Like, look at George, he does gymnastics, okay? And I'm the one I twisted his arm a little to put him in gymnastics.
Why?
Okay. So he's saying, I've taken George and put him in gymnastics because he's recognizing that by training stuff that you're not good at, it's going to give you something for the sport that you're good at. So if someone was an MMA fighter who lacked some fitness and you gave them some better fitness or some power because they weren't powerful enough, they'd probably get better at MMA in addition to their MMA stuff. But accepting that they're always going to be, like he says, not the greatest, that is the point. It doesn't mean that CrossFit is the wrong thing. Trying to be a games competitor would be an issue, yes, but you're just misunderstanding the program.
Because I thought it would give him tremendous benefit because of the amount of, first of all, they use a lot of body weight, so it doesn't cost us anything neurologically.
Body weight definitely costs you something neurologically. It costs less than the systemic loading of external loading, but it's not nothing. Look at
Weight
gymnasts
exercises
and tell me that they haven't been under some significant loads. Forces, I should say.
Are very easy to recover from, are very easy on the nervous system. They use leverage instead of weights. Plus the
What? Depends on how you use them. If you're using them in volume, it doesn't. You can get similar stimuli from bodyweight stuff, not the same kind of systemic loading, but volume-wise, you can get some great patterns.
stabilizer strength is unbelievable. So, and of course, I wanted coordination. I felt George was a little bit stiff, mechanical. And the tumbling makes you more fluid. I thought I would create more efficiency this way. So we get him there, and there's difficulties. Okay, from A to F, we're still at A and B, and he'll always be at A and B. Maybe he'll touch C in his career, but he'll never get to F. You'd have to start really young, and you'd have to do it full time. You know, imagine somebody trying to get good at jiu-jitsu doing it part time. He'll never get good. He'll be so-so. He'll reach such a level. CrossFit is too fatigue-seeking for an MMA fighter.
I'm going to go back to my other statement that MMA fighters fight under fatigue. That's what a fight does. A lot of them end because the person is too fatigued. If you are less fatigued because you train under fatigue and you also have higher levels of fitness, you will be better at MMA. There is a give and take, though. You need to be practicing more MMA than your fitness, unless your main weakness is your fitness and your MMA skills are so good. So this is too linear an argument.
Now, if CrossFitters followed, if they just followed that 70% rule, they could, and periodically went to their max, periodically, as opposed to every single workout.
So he doesn't obviously know what CrossFit is because you don't go to your max every day. You just don't. That's just not how CrossFit works. And if you're doing CrossFit that way, you burn out. That's just, and even if you are going to your max every day, for some people, the days should vary in such a way that max feels different. Going to your max and double unders and jump rope is a very different going to your max than thrusters and power snatches, because the type of loading is different. The 5Ks are different. Heavy days are different. Skill work days are different. It's just an misunderstanding.
Totally out. I bet you their top guys don't go all out every day.
Not only do our top guys not go all out, but everyone in every gym around the world doesn't go all out every day.
I bet you if you watch what their top guys do, they taper off the workout. They make the workout between 70 and 85% of their true max, and they work volume. And then closer to competition, they go higher in intensity. I guarantee you that's what the best CrossFitters do.
Yes and no. There are CrossFit athletes who compete who do that, and they kind of try to periodize it for their events that they're doing. But the vast majority of them also will have many times during the week where they're hitting much closer to maxes, because they need to be able to sustain those levels of intensity. And it's one of the best ways that they continue to see adaptation at the levels that they're at. Hence the reason that you get some pretty ridiculous top-level athletes.
There's no way that the guy who goes balls out every day is going to add up as much workout and as much training time as the guy who's going 70 to 85% of his max.
Well, there's training time and there's training intensity, and both have a lever on adaptation, and we are always balancing those two things. And he's correct, but we do both.
There's just no way.
Out of ignorance, honestly, because I only watch them on video. I've never done a CrossFit.
Right.
God, Rogan's got to get in there and do a class like with a good coach. We'll go to a gym for like a month, because there's some awesome ones. Like he would, I guarantee you, when he saw its application, would be like, dude, people need to do this stuff.
Class, but it seems to me they're competing against each other.
Yeah, they're going all out.
Can you compete against each other? Sure. Vast majority of people do not.
Trying to set a PR every class.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. All due respect, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense because it's not what you do. Okay. Well, let's talk about that real quick. And I'm good. I'm done with that. It was just another misunderstanding. There's a lot of misunderstandings there. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense when I'm unpacking it. But it's just more misunderstandings. And again, these people, if they got it from the horse's mouth rather than what they saw online and some clickbaity videos, which is like this is another clickbaity video. And he's not even meaning it to be that defamatory. He's just speaking in such a way that it does kind of defame what we do, but it doesn't. It's not correct. Anywho, until next time, that was another episode of In Defense of Fitness.